our What in the World segment, I want to show you a strange cartoon from Egypt. It's of Uncle Sam. He looks sinister and mean, hunched over a door with a keyhole. The implication, I suppose, is that the U.S. is spying on Egyptians. Another cartoon shows him with a pistol. He's pointing it at an Egyptian man with a cannon. The caption in Arabic says, "Dignity." The point here is quite clear. Americans are robbing Egyptians of their dignity. What is going on? These cartoons were published recently in a state-run newspaper, and they highlight a disturbing trend. Egypt's transitional government is trying to whip up anti-American fervor. Its latest ploy is a high-publicity trial set to begin today. This is a list of 43 people, nearly half of them U.S. citizens, who stand accused of illegally receiving foreign funds to promote democracy. The government claims they didn't have a license to do their work. In reality, these people had filed registration papers under the old regime of Hosni Mubarak. They were told their papers were in order. Besides, it is a little rich for the Egyptian government, which receives $1.2 billion in aid from the United States every year, to harass charities about getting funds from America. So what is going on? In a recent column, the New York Times' Tom Friedman points out that the ongoing trial was the brainchild of an old Mubarak crony, Faiza Abdul Naga, Egypt's Minister of Planning and International Cooperation. Her strategy, Friedman says, is to unite Egyptians by standing up to the foreigners. She plays this game by taking advantage of a fractured Egyptian leadership. It seems she got the military on board by showing them how all these human rights workers from abroad are their most vocal critics. Rounding them up, the logic goes, would show how Egypt's protests are really driven by external forces. In fact, Egypt's uprising was entirely local. There were no evil foreign forces at work.
And we're gonna take our freedom.
America was caught unaware, as were all foreign governments when the protests started. The real problem is that Egypt's old regime is clinging on to power. People like Abul Naga and the power behind her, the military. Remember, Egypt's last 4 presidents, including Hosni Mubarak, came from the armed forces. And that group remains unwilling to cede control even to the newly elected parliament. Many fear the army is now trying to shape a new constitution to its benefit. Meanwhile, the armed forces have huge economic interests, and they have always been opposed to economic reforms, even the ones under Gamal Mubarak, because they took away their monopolies and privileges. Last June, the government refused an IMF loan for more than $3 billion. Last week, it had to cave in and accept that money. All this is happening as foreign reserves have plummeted from $36 billion to merely $10 billion. Foreign investment has almost entirely stopped. Tourism has seen a 30% decline. Now, think about the fears voiced in the Western media about post-revolution Egypt. It's been all about the rise of Islam. We keep hearing about how the party that swept Egypt's elections, the Muslim Brotherhood, is a force to be feared. We are told stories about how Egypt will become a Sharia state and an enemy of the United States. But the real danger to Egyptian democracy and to pro-American sentiment is the group that has always been a danger to Egyptian democracy, the military. Until they actually cede power, the Egyptian revolution remains stillborn and the country remains a military dictatorship.